right here. All right. And we're going to go ahead and start out and let's see. All right, let's go ahead and pray. Yahuah, we come before you as always, Father, asking for forgiveness for our sins, transgressions, and iniquities. We just ask that you help us, Father, so that we can overcome ourselves. Ask, Father, that you especially help me with my affliction. We also, Father, thank you for the Ruach HaKodesh. We thank you for your valiant son, Yahushua HaMashiach, the one that came and died for us. Father, we just thank you for all things. We just praise you for all things, Father. But we see these times are getting closer and closer. And we thank you, Father, that you've given us eyes and ears to see and hear. Because we see this thing and it's creeping up real slow. But again, Father, through your great wisdom that you've given us, we are able to see this thing. So we just ask, Father, that you remember those that wanted to be here that can't. And we ask that you bless everyone, Father, that comes up on this class. Open their eyes and their ears again, Father, so that they understand what's going on in these critical times. And we ask these things in Yahushua's name we pray. Hallelujah. Okay, so we're going to get to this next part. We're still dealing with the with Revelation. Now, out of all these men here, you had Joseph Stalin, Mussolini, Hitler, Mao, and Vlad the Impaler. Between these men right here, they've killed millions of human beings. But this man that we're going to have to face is going to do way more damage than that. I mean, this man is going to be, the son of perdition is going to be a pure 100% destroyer. We're going to look at this. We're going to look at a few things today. And we're going to look at, again, a few things that's going to show us the origination of a lot of things. So 2 Thessalonians 2:2 says that you be not soon shaken in mind or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter as from us, as that the day of Christ is at hand. So he was talking about this back then. They could see the mystery, the devilish mystery system was already in place, because they knew about these things. And we know Israel used to love dealing with these different Elohim from this mystery system. So 2 Thessalonians 2:3 says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. So we know that sin is a transgression of the law. And so we know that this is a lawless man, right? The son of perdition, which is Strong's number G6484. He's a destroyer. He's the son of the destroyer, right? Hasatan. I'm not talking about physical son. And basically, he's just going to get his power from this dragon. We're gonna look at all of that. So he means it's utter destruction. This is what he's going to be bringing. Ruin, destruction of money. We know that's going to have destruction, which consists of eternal misery in hell, because he's gonna destroy this earth, and he's going to finish destroying man physically and spiritually. So we got to know this about this man, right? Now, Matthew 24:15 says, so when you see the abomination, we know the abomination is something that's vile, wicked, unclean, of desolation, right? Because that's what he's going to do. He's going to bring desolation, spoken by the prophet Daniel, standing in the holy place. We know that's in Jerusalem. Let the reader understand. Then let those who are in Judea flee. Now, if he was going to catch you up at this time, why would he tell you to flee? See, flee to the mountains. Let the one who is on the housetop not go down to take what is in his house. And let the one who is in the field not turn back to take his cloak. And alas, for women who are pregnant and for those who are nursing infants in those days, pray that your flight may not be in winter or on the Shabbat, for then there will be great tribulation, such as has not been from the beginning of the world until now, no, and never will be. This is going to be this is going to be a rough time. And if those days have not been cut short, no human being will be saved. But for the sake of the elect, those days will be cut short. But this is how much desolation that this man is going to cause. And between, him and Yah trying to make men repent, because that's really who's behind it all. We know this, but it has to happen. All right. Now, who is behind all this? Everything being set up the way he wants it to be set up. I mean, all the way down to crossing every T, dotting every I. It's him. It's the Father that's behind this. But this is just his puppet. This is his puppet. And at that time, Daniel chapter 12, shall arise Michael, the great prince. Now we know you'll hear a lot of people, especially Jehovah's Witness, they always say that this Michael is the Mashiach, but that's not true. We're going to show you when this ever comes up how to refute this. Who has charge of your people, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never has been since there was a nation till that time. He's telling you the same thing. But at that time, your people shall be delivered. Everyone whose name shall be found written in the book. What book? The book of life. And many of those who sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake. He didn't say all of them. Some to everlasting life and some to shame and everlasting contempt. All right? And those who are wise shall shine like the brightness of the sky above, and those who turn many to righteousness. I need everybody to be on mute, please, like the stars forever and ever. So this is one of the main reasons why we're supposed to be learning these things so we can be out talking to the people. And the thing I want you guys to always understand, all of us got shortcomings. You just gotta get up. Now is the time to try to get over it. This is the time, but you're still supposed to be telling people about this truth. You have to. If you want to shine, I want to shine bright. I want to shine I want to shine like the stars forever. When I walk through Jerusalem, I want flames to be coming off my back. But this is how we know this is not Michael. This is not the Mashiach, that Michael, because we know from our other lessons that you have princes that stand in the presence of Yahuah. We know this. He happens to be one of them. And he's the one that's over Israel. Because right here, and of course, we always use our tools, LXX 32, Deuteronomy 32 and 8, when the Most High divided the nations, when he separated the sons of Adam, we know that happened at the Tower of Babel. He set the bounds of the nations according to the numbers of messengers of Elohim. Right? So when we look at this word bounds, the Brown Driver Briggs Old Testament Hebrew English lexicon says it's feminine of H 1366, a boundary, a region, border, bound, cast, landmark. So they always had a place in the earth that they went. So this is who this is. This is this Michael, the great prince, and we're going to prove that to you. And from the time that the regular burnt offering is taken away and the abomination that makes desolate is set up, there shall be 1,290 days. And I think it's another, it goes on to say 1,330 days or something like that. It just adds like a month or something like that on to the end of it. So it's still 3.5 years. All this stuff is going to be going on in 3.5 years. Right? But you're going to hear 7. But I wanted to make sure I showed you this. And let's go to this next one so we can prove this. All right. At the latter end of their kingdom, when the transgressors have reached their limit, a king of bold face, one who understands riddles, shall arise. It's still in Daniel. His power shall be great, but not by his own power. And he shall cause fearful destruction and shall succeed in what he does. Hold on a minute. And destroy mighty men and the people who are the saints. So he's going to be destroying everything and everybody he can. By his cunning, he shall make deceit prosper. And your King James is going to say witchcraft. It's going to say craft. And you hear a lot of people say, see, he's going to be using witchcraft. No, this word deceit only means I mean, the word craft only means to be deceitful, to be deceiving. So he's going to make deceit prosper under his hand, and in his own mind he shall become great. Without warning, he shall destroy many, and he shall even rise up against the prince of princes. So here you got, here, let me see, where was we at? What did I do? What did I do, y'all? What happened? Man, my scripture pop, my thing pop out of there? I had to. Let's see. I don't know what happened to it. Oh, the great prince. I'm sorry. Here's the great prince. Let me get up here and do this right. So you have the great prince here, right? And then you had the prince of princes, right? The prince of princes. This is the Mashiach, not Michael, not Michael. And that's one of the ways that you can shut that right on down. Because Michael was he's a great prince, but this is the prince of princes. All right, I'm hoping y'all see that, and that's something that you really need to make sure that you mark, because I promise you, you're gonna hear it again. Somebody gonna come to you with that, and you're gonna be able to help them this way, right? Right now, and at the latter time of their kingdom, when their sins are coming to the full, there shall arise a king bold in countenance and understanding riddles. And I took this out of the LXX. And his power shall be, that's added in great, and he shall destroy wonderfully and prosper and practice and shall destroy mighty men and the holy people. It's just I just added this too, so I wanted you to see how the LXX has the same Daniel 8. And the yoke of his chain shall prosper. There is, see, that's added, craft in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart. And by craft, deceit shall destroy many, and he shall stand up for the destruction of many, and shall crush them as eggs in his hand. So, I mean, it's just going to be a lot of destruction, but I like how it says that, you know, I mean, so, you know, if you put an egg in your hand, how easy that is to crush it, right? He going to be a force. 2 Thessalonians 2:4. Who opposes and exalteth himself above all that is called Elohim? Because he's going to do that too, or that is worship, so that he as Elohim sitteth in the temple of Elohim, showing himself that he is Elohim. Now, we know, now when it comes to these people that they are these, I like to call them imposters, because that's what they really are. But people like to say, well, see, right now they're deceived. They're going to put up the temple, and then they're going to realize these people is waiting for Hasatan. Period. Cold-blooded, point blank. They won't even use the name of Yahuah. They'd rather say Hashem. And it's been proven that some of the Elohims that they worship from the very beginning, when they was put in the land anyway, by the Assyrian king, the Temple Institute is actively engaged in the research and preparation of the resumption of service in the Holy Temple, to the extent of actually preparing operational blueprints for the construction of the temple. That's another way you know that this is going down, because that who they are is because the veil of the temple ripped when the Mashiach was crucified. That was the end of the animal sacrifice. Poof! That was a wrap. But see, they still doing these things. And again, we know who they worship. And that's a whole nother lesson. But these people is going to set this temple up for the Elohim to come. Don't trick yourself and don't think that these people don't know exactly who they are. I mean, they hate the Mashiach. They'll tell you they don't believe. They say his mother was a whore and all these other things. These same people that people send money to every month. It's just the fact that they have not been taught right, and they've been under the yoke of deception for generations, right? Because they'll tell you, well, see, they're back. The people are back now. Okay, but where's the Mashiach? Because we're gonna see by the time we get done with this, it's impossible. And then they would all have to be Judah to be like, again, we're gonna get to that. But if you don't see the Mashiach sitting on David's throne on earth, then who are these people? They ain't even supposed to be, Israel can't go back yet. That's book.
Jeffy, I got a
Yes.
question.
Yeah.
Don't the temple supposed to be our body now?
Well, yes. I mean, the temple is your body, and you offering yourself up as a living sacrifice. Yep. That's exactly right. And that's another thing that the Mashiach accomplished when he died. So this temple building and all this ain't got nothing to do with Yah. This is something that they doing for House of Time. It's just that simple. A lot of people might get mad when I say that, but I can prove it. Can you prove that I'm wrong? Okay, Daniel 12 and 11. And from the time that the regular burnt offering is taken away and the abomination that makes desolate is set up, there shall be 12,090 days, 3.5 years. Because they're going to start this stuff and he's going to make them stop it. Who are they building this for? They're building this for Hasatan and the son of perdition. Because this is not supposed to be going on right now. And anybody that has intensely studied this book knows that this can't be right. This is just for people that don't study, that don't read anything. They're the ones that's tricked by this. Right? Now, the man of lawlessness. For the mystery, this is Second Thessalonians chapter 2, 7 through 9. For the mystery of lawlessness is already at work. And we're going to find out what he means by this word mystery. But the one who now restrains it will continue until he is taken out of the way. And then the lawless one will be revealed, whom the sovereign Yahushua, right, will slay with the breath of his mouth and annihilate by the majesty of his arrival. The coming of the lawless one will be accompanied by the working of Hasatan, with every kind of power, sign, and false wonder, right? So when we look at this word lawlessness, it's Strong's number G458, anomia, right? It means iniquity. So why we ask y'all for this. Please forgive us for our iniquity, unrighteousness, so this is what it is. He's transgressing the law. That's sin, right? And then from the root word G4160, transgression of the law. So we know if you're not keeping the commandments, then you're a transgressor of the law. It's just that simple. Grace can't help you. Romans chapter 5 tells you how to get grace by being obedient and keep the commandments. It's a condition of without law because of ignorant of it, because of violating it, contempt and violation of law, iniquity, wickedness. See, so even if a person is ignorant of this, it's still not going to help you. Because this word, somebody's going to come by and tell you about these commandments. Now, whether you want to hear it anymore, whether you believe it, whatever, and no matter what condition they are in, they gave you some truth. So you won't be able to say, I didn't know. Because the Father going to make sure that every creature, it has a chance to even understand this. And then we're going to see, even when everything is going down, he's still going to send messengers to try to preach the everlasting gospel to the wickedness. But it's only one thing about it. We're going to see something here. This is going to be a real good class. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 9. Even him whose coming is down from the working of Satan. See? With all power and signs and lying wonders. And we know who's given Hasatan this power. It's the Father, because this is the Father's will and it will be done. So he's using Hasatan in this manner to give this man this power, right? So the word working is G number 1753 in the New Testament, used only of superhuman power, whether of Elohim or of Hasatan. So power is G1411. Strength, power, ability, inherent power, power residing in the thing by virtue of its nature, or which a person or thing exerts and put forth. Power for performing miracles. He's going to do that. Moral power and excellence of soul, the power and influence which belongs to riches and wealth. He's going to take that away. Power and resources arising from numbers, power consisting or resting upon armies, forces, and hosts. We're going to see that too, because he's going to meet Yahushua is going to meet them in the valley of Jehoshaphat, or the valley of decision, because it's going to be on at that time. So we see that the word signs that by which a person or thing is distinguished from others and is known. Because he's going to be doing all these miracles and people going to be flipping out. A sign, a prodigy, right? An unusual occurrence. When he makes a statue come alive, people going to lose their mind. See? And then wonder, Strong's number G2296, to wonder at, marvel, to be wondered at, to be had in admiration, because they're going to admire the beast. So Revelation 13:4 says people worship the dragon because he had given authority to the beast. And they also worship the beast and ask, who is like the beast? Who can wage war against it? So at this point, they ain't even thinking about the Father. They ain't even thinking about the Mashiach, because they asking the question. They really admire this man. You know what I'm saying? He's distinguished to them, and they're going to follow. See, so this is what I'm saying. This is the time they really tried to look at. Yahuah showed me myself over these last month, and I ain't liking what I'm seeing. So, you know, we all know what we got to overcome. You start working on it now, because you're going to need this, and I'm going to show you why. So you have, like, you see that they had the little shots. Oh, I ain't taking that. That's the mark of the beast. No, it's not. You know, they showing a chip. That ain't got nothing to do with this, right? So, and then people say, I would never take the mark. Never, never. I don't care. I'm not going to do anything. I don't need to do that. But when the beast show up, man, I'm already going to know what to do. I ain't taking no mark. Is that so? Because we looking at, I mean, you know, who knows how this is going to be, but we're going to show you. It's going to be his name or his mark, right? Or the number of his name is going to be on you. But these people say this all the time. This is why this is so deadly. 2 Thessalonians 2:10, and with all this deceivableness of unrighteous in them that perish, because they refuse to keep the commandments, because they receive not the love of the truth. What's the love of the truth? The love of the truth is keeping the commandments, that they might be saved. So you just ain't, because you talking about I'm born again, I'm saved. You ain't saved. If you're not keeping the commandments, you can forget it. This is what Paul just got done right now. Psalms 97:10, ye that love Yahuah hate evil. He preserves the souls of his saints. He delivered them out of the hand of the wicked. And we read that when we first started this. So then we have Psalms 119 and 97. As you see, we have the Hebrew word mem, or how love I thy law. It is my meditation all the day. But this is why this is so important to understand these Hebrew letters, because we know the word mem, or the letter mem, represents life and renewal. That's what it's. So he said that's all he's trying to say. So I'm getting life and renewal because I love thy law, and I think about it, and I meditate it, and I try to practice it every day. This is basically what he's saying. Because love is the commandments, and see, we've been tricked out of that. To maybe, well, you know, he would never do that. You know, the Lord loves everybody. Yeah, the Lord does, but Yahuah doesn't. Two different people. Let's keep going and see what's going to happen. John 14:21. He that hath my commandments and keepeth them, he it is that loves me. So if you don't do that, you don't love him. And he that loveth me shall be loved of my Father, and I will love him and will manifest myself to him. And every last one of us up here has been manifested to some kind of way. Otherwise, you wouldn't be up here. 1 John 5:3. But this is the love of Elohim. This is the love of Elohim, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. People, oh man, you can't keep them old commandments, they burdensome. Well, right here, John is telling you that they're not burdensome. They're not grievous, but they're grievous to those that don't love the Mashiach or the Father. They're grievous to those who don't know him, because he haven't manifested himself to them, because they're not seeking after him. They say they are, but they're not seeking. Because he is a loving Elohim. You seek after him, you're going to find him. Now let's see what else going to happen. 2 Thessalonians 2:11. Oh, this is the 2 Thessalonians. And for this cause, Elohim shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie. This is why they're not going to be able to come up out of this thing. It's error. He's going to deceive them. He's going to hit them with deceit. He's going to deceive these ones that do not want to keep this commandment. You can't wait to the last minute that they all might be damned who believe not the commandments, but have pleasure in unrighteousness. So you can't wait to the last minute. It's not going to work. You got to start practicing on this now, no matter what kind of thing you're dealing with. If you fall, you just got to keep getting back up until you get whatever your problem is mastered. But you're going to have to master it. See, so if you're not doing this thing, you can't wait, because he's going to send strong delusion. And who can be more deceiving? But you'll say, well, wait, what are you trying to say? He's wicked? No, man. Yahuah just, whatever the Father wants done is going to get done. He's going to send a spirit just like he did before. When he said, who will go down and deceive? I can't remember the name of the king. That spirit said, I'll go. I'll be a lion wonder in his mouth. That's who's going to do it. It ain't him. He don't have to move. He is the emperor. He thinks it, and the son carries it out. I mean, it's all there. And he sent that spirit. That spirit is glad to this, because they hate us anyway. He can't wait to come down here and put strong delusion on you. So it's a wrap. So no, you can't wait to the last minute. Otherwise, you're going to take the mark. It's just that simple. It's because guess what? You're going to be an admirer. After he put that delusion, you're going to be admiring the beast. And, well, who can make war? You're going to be saying the same thing. Who can make war with the beast? Now, this is what he says. I form the light and create darkness. I bring prosperity. So you ain't got to kill yourself out here trying to get rich. If he wants you to be rich, you're going to be rich. It's just that simple. And create disaster. See, I bring prosperity and create disaster. I, Yahuah, do all these things. Everything comes from the Father. I mean, I remember when I was in culinary school, I was trying to come up with all these ideas for dishes, nothing never worked out. Then I cut the TV on. This girl got a recipe from her grandmother's peanut brittle recipe. Now she in stores, she making millions. And I'm like, man, but I didn't understand this at that time, but I do now. So it is what it is. Now, let's look at this. 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Now, this is very important, because Paul is going to be breaking, he's going to show you these commandments and how to handle Yah and your brother and sister. And this is about love, because we need to understand what love is. Now, when we read the scripture in the past, we always thought it was talking about each other, which it is, but it's also talking about the Father. If I speak in the tongues of men and of messengers, but have not love, I ain't got the commandments, I am noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to remove mountains, but I have not the commandments, I'm nothing. If I give all I have, and if I deliver up my body to be burned, but have not love, I gain nothing. That's very important for me, because I gotta really, really look at this. I'm talking about for me now. You know what I'm saying? Because I got a few of these in here. I got a few of these I got. But it's some things that I should be doing that I shouldn't be doing. I mean, but you know what I'm saying? I'm just being real. I got to be real, because it is what it is. It's this time is short now. All this hiding and all this, it's over for that. Love is patient and kind. See? Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. So what he's doing is, Paul, this whole thing is just basically showing you the first two commandments. The greatest one, to love Yah with all your heart, mind, and soul. And the second one, to love your brother as yourself. Because if you do, you're going to be patient with them. You're going to be kind to them. You're not going to envy or boast against them. You're not going to be arrogant toward them or rude. See? Verse 6, it does not rejoice after wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. The commandments ain't gonna never end, but the commandments can help you bear all things. They can teach you to believe all things that he wrote. It can give you hope in all things that he said he was gonna do, as far as promises, and you can endure all things with the commandments. Right? Love never ends. The commandments ain't never ending. And because we're going to show you this. And for the prophecies, they will pass away, because we've seen them happen right before our eyes every day. And for tongues, they will cease. As for knowledge, so folks making a big deal out of speaking in tongues, I mean, that nobody in the whole church understands. It will pass away. But we know in part and we prophesy in part. So could you imagine with the things we think we know, we don't know nothing. But when the perfect comes, who is the perfect? The Messiah. The partial will pass away because we're going to learn all things. We're going to be drinking out of the fountain of living waters. That's going to give us understanding. When I was a child, I spake like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I gave up childish. Oh, hold on a minute. This thing. What's going on with you today, buddy? Gave up childish ways. For now we see in the mirror dimly, but then face to face. So you walking up on the mirror, you can barely see yourself, but then you right in front of it. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I have been fully known. So now faith, hope, and love abide, these three, but the greatest of thee is love. So it's the love of Yahuah and the love of his commandments, which is the greatest of all of these. Because if you love God or Elohim with all your heart, mind, and soul, you're going to keep these commandments. And if you love your neighbor as yourself, these are the things that you're not going to do. It's all right here. We just got to understand how Paul writes. Now, Ephesians 4:14, King James Version, that we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine, by the sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive. And I was deceived like everybody else. I was deceived. Because you couldn't tell me when I was a deacon at Bethlehem Revival Temple that I was not going to be in a rapture flying away. And that's something else I'm working on strong, because I like the ethics. When I was saved, there's a whole lot of things I wouldn't do. And y'all know I like to drink, but guess what? Man, when I was saved, you couldn't pour any type of alcohol nowhere near me. Even we did when we took the communion, we had great drink. But I've seen it over and over, and myself, it's like the more understanding you get, it seems like I ain't got no power sometimes. And I'm like, I gotta cut this out. I gotta get in this kingdom. Because I be John Brown, like my grandfather said, if I be putting these classes up here and y'all have white robes on and I don't, that ain't gonna happen. Because I want all of us to have on white robes. And I want to shine like the star. Now, men conjuring up demons, seeking the mystery knowledge. This goes on. And if anybody knows anything about the Knights of the Templar, you could do some extensive research. That's another.
You off, we can't hear you.
Jeffrey?
Yeah, hold on.
All right.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear
Yeah.
you now. I couldn't hear for a long time.
Oh, so a lot of this wasn't being recorded?
Oh, well,
Right,
this
right
here
after you
was,
said Knights of the Templar, you went out.
Oh, okay. Let me go back then. All right, you guys can still hear me, right? Everybody can still hear me? Somebody say yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
All right. I'm sorry. I don't know what's I'm telling you, it's this weather up here. But anyway, so this is what they do. By day, he's Pastor Ben, and But at night, you don't know what he's doing. And a lot of these guys are in these mystery systems. So you'll find a lot of these pastors and teachers, this is what they're into. And they seeking this secret knowledge. And this stuff goes on. It's not even a joke. It's actually real. Actually real. All right? All right. All right. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened on that last one. But so a lot of people will say that they'll say, well, the Pope is, he has to be the Antichrist. No, he doesn't have to be the Antichrist, even though he's the vicar of Christ, right? He's the vice Elohim, king of Egypt, right? Now, why would they call him the king of Egypt? Because you have to understand, and we got this in a lesson that we're going to put up here called the Abraham's bosom. We're going to show how this thing going to heaven came about, where it came from the very beginning. We know it came from Nimrod, but it worked its way down the ladder. And then the Egyptians picked up a lot of this stuff from Nimrod, right? And then the Greeks went to the mystery university that they had. They're learning this secret knowledge. That's what they call it, the mystery system. That's what Paul is talking about. See? And so and all their teachings are coming. This is why people keep Christmas. This is why they do Easter. This is why they under grace. This is why they believe they can eat anything they want. It comes from the mystery system. Because if you look at the Pope, I don't care what kind of denomination you call yourself, 90% of them do the same things that they say is okay. So he's also known as Hermes, the divine interpreter of all true knowledge of the mysteries. Keys, he has the keys of Janus, give him the power of Dagon, because we see Dagon standing behind him. You see the fish mouth hat. All this then coincides. He carries a staff of magic to perform his rites, the crosier, right? And this is why they always show you this false Elohim right here, Jesus, and what he always had. He always got the same staff. Because they keeping you from calling him his real name. And we're going to see that's very important. And they show you the magic that's in this stuff. But people got pictures like this up in their house and don't even understand what's going on. Kissing the ring comes from Babylon, where the servants that met the king kissed his slippers, hence now the ring. So it just went from kissing the king's slippers to kissing his ring. Because it's saying that he is the king of Egypt. But again, still don't think he's going to be the Antichrist. I still don't think that. You know what I mean? So hold on. Come on now. This thing is hacking up again. Let me know if I go out and you can't hear me, anybody, if it happens again. Now, we're looking at this man. Everything is sinister, and if you're not sinister, your time is over. 1 John 1:6 says, if we say that we have fellowship with him, and walk in darkness, we lie and do not the truth. So we say we got fellowship with the Mashiach, we lying to ourselves and we walking in darkness. I don't care how you feel about it. And you lie, you're a liar, and you do not the truth, because you're not keeping it, because we know truth is the commandments. It's the only way that you can have fellowship with him and the Father. We know this by now in this class. See? Now, let's keep rolling. Nimrod, the Hamite hunter of souls and the mystery of iniquity. The high priest of Hasatan spread the mystery system throughout the world through domination. Nimrod was a bad boy. He was a high priest. The high priest of Hasatan, because his doctrine is all over the place as we speak right now in 2022. Nimrod, son of Cush, the rebel. 1 Chronicles 1:10 states Cush was the father of Nimrod, who became a mighty warrior on earth. Now, the Jerusalem Targum has this to say about him. He was a powerful in hunting and in wickedness before Yahuah. For he was a hunter of the sons of men. And he said to them, depart from the judgment of Yahuah, right? Don't worry about his commandments and adhere to the judgment of Nimrod. Do whatever you want. Therefore is it said, as Nimrod the strong one, strong in hunting and in wickedness before Yahuah. Makes it pretty plain. Because again, he was one of the first ones too that wanted to go to heaven. That's why they built the tower. But this going to heaven after you die thing it's powerful right now. Micah says, and he will be our peace when the Assyrians invade our land and march throughout our fortress. So we're going to see that Nimrod, because we know he had kingdoms. He was a king. He was the first great king on the earth. We will raise up against them 7 shepherds, even 8 commanders, who will rule the land of Assyria with the sword. The land of Nimrod with drawn sword. So Assyria is the land of Nimrod. He will deliver us from the Assyrians when they invade our land and march across the borders. Okay, I just did that so you could see that you would know for sure. Even though Genesis tells us these things, you look some of this stuff up. And this is what he said. Genesis 11:3, and they said to one another, go to, let us make brick, burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. Genesis 11:4, and they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto the Shamayim. And let us make a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. So this going to heaven thing been around a long time. So the tower is H number 4026, elevated stage, a pulpit, where you get the doctrine of rebellion and self-righteousness. That's why people tell you, I don't need to keep no commandments, and I can do it this way that I want to do it, the way I was told that I can do it. Well, that's self-righteousness, right? Because you'll say, well, I saved the whales. That's a self thing. I fed the poor. Okay, that's your reasonable service. But people do these things without even keeping the commandments. We just read about love. Name is 8034, renowned, fame, famous. He wants the fame of Yahuah. And as we go through this, you're going to start seeing that Hasatan has the same, he's a mimicker. He mimics the same thing that the Father does. Heaven, H8064, heaven as the abode of Elohim. He wants the throne of Yahuah. And Satan did the same thing, right? He said he's gonna sit up on the throne in the north mountain. He wants everything that the Father had. He was a mighty hunter before, against, right? 17 times Yahuah, against Yahuah. That's what this word before. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before Yahuah. So the whole thing is that they're hunting the souls of men, and they catching them. And they're going to get a lot of them when the son of perdition shows up. All right? That's their whole thing. Daniel 3:6. And whoever, now let's look at this Nebuchadnezzar. Now listen, because we're going to see the same patterns. And whoever does not fall down in worship will immediately be thrown into the blazing fiery furnace. Therefore, as soon as all the people heard the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, and all kinds of music, the people of every nation and language would fall down and worship the golden statue that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. These is Nimrod's people too. Revelation 13:14, and deceive of them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. So he had you bound down to an image back then. He's gonna be his Hasatan. He's got the same tactics now. See? Like the scripture say, Yahuah said, I'm Yahuah and I change not. Hasatan gonna come at you the same way. Let's look at this example. As soon as you hear the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipes, and all kinds of music, you must fall down and worship the golden statue which King Nebuchadnezzar has set up, right? Revelation 13:12, and he exercised all power of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. Daniel 3:1-3. Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold whose height was 60 cubits, and the breadth thereof 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king sent to gather together the princes, the governors, and the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, right? That's where the word sheriff comes from, the high sheriff, and all the rulers of the province to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Then the princes, the governors and captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces were gathered together until the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up, and they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. See, this word dedication is very strong. Let's see if we can find out what it means. Revelation 6 and 15, and the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty. Do y'all see this? And every bondman and every freeman hid themselves in the dens and the rocks of the mountain. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive the mark in their right hand or on their forehead. It's the same thing. Praise God. So Daniel 3, 1 through 30, the key word here is dedication, right? It's what it really just means to submit, right? H2598, dedication. It's a consecration. Are we supposed to consecrate ourselves to Yahuah? But by you bowing down and taking this mark, you're going to be submissive and consecrate yourself to a house of time. And at the dedication of the wall of Jerusalem, they sought the Levites out of all their places to bring them to Jerusalem to keep the dedication with what? Gladness, both with thanksgiving and with singing and with cymbals and psalteries and with harps. You see? That's what he gave. And I guarantee the beast gonna probably have something set up just like this. See? So it's a dedicatory sacrifice. Because we ain't supposed to bow down to nobody but Yahuah. And we're supposed to offer ourselves to him as a living sacrifice. But you that is not trying to practice these righteous acts and keep these commandments, you're going to be in the spirit of delusion is going to be on you, and you're going to sacrifice yourself to this beast, period. See, because I was always wondering that people, but man, you know, I ain't worried about it. You better be worried about it, because if you ain't doing this or trying to do this, you're going to have a spirit of delusion, or you're going to be just like the rest of them. Now, Daniel 4:1, Nebuchadnezzar the king, unto all people, nations, and languages that dwell in all the earth, peace be multiplied unto you. So this is just a, even with him, we see this verse is just a shadow picture of how Mashiach. We're going to show you that. Because all nations, all tongues on the earth is going to bow down to him, period. See? All right, let's see what else we can glean out of this. Jeremiah 18 and 12, but they will say it's hopeless, for we are going to follow our own plans. See, right there. And each of us will act according to the stubbornness of his evil mind. They in Jeremiah 23 and 7, they keep saying to those who despise me, Yahuah has said. You hear all the time, the Lord told me this, or the Spirit spoke to me. And now what they gonna be saying? You will have peace. Didn't Paul tell you when they say peace, peace, you're supposed to beware? Right? And as for everyone who walks in the stubbornness of his own mind, they say calamity will not come upon you. First Thessalonians 5 and 1, but of the times and the season, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of Yahuah so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say, what? Peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Any woman that's had a kid understands this totally. Because you sit up there watching TV, eating ice cream and eating Snicker bars, and all of a sudden that pain hits you. Oh, it's time to go, honey. My water broke. All of a sudden, that's how the destruction will come upon you. But you, brethren, are not in darkness. That day should overtake you as a thief. So it shouldn't overtake any of us. Not on this class. You are all the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. So, and we know that sober, he's talking about two things: drinking too much, right? And your mind. So your mind ain't clouded with all these distractions that Hasatan is throwing out here. You see what's going on. We know why the fires are, we know why the flooding, we know why all these, because he already told us that's the beginning of sorrows. Then we go to the prophets and see he's going to send the tempest, he's going to send the storms, he's going to send all these things. Because we have an understanding. But like me and Elder Moshe was talking about earlier, well, you know, they just tell us that it's global warming and people out there with signs. You're hurting the fish. You got to stop this. I mean, they don't have a clue about this, but we do. We know why this is happening. Elohim rules. Jeremiah 23:16, thus says Yahuah of hosts, do not listen to the words of the prophets who are prophesying to you. They are leading you to futility. They speak a vision of their own imagination, not from the mouth of Yahuah. I ain't saying this. This is what whoever you listening to is telling you. But most people don't care. They'll still go back and be right up under the same because they ain't got no courage enough to leave. They, my mother went here, or my father went here, and I promised him I was gonna come here to this whorehouse. I mean, this temple, this church, and keep this. And okay, man, do what you do. Yahuah is master of all. Daniel answered and said, "Blessed be the name of Yahuah forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his." He blessing the name. And he changes the times and the seasons. He removes kings and set up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise and knowledge to them that know understanding. We know how you got to do it. We know what you got to do to get that. It's all about truth. If you ain't seeking the truth, you ain't going to have this. You're going to be just like the rest of them out there talking about global warming and, man, I wonder what, they need to get rid of Biden, man. We need to get Trump back. For what? Ain't now one of them for you. They puppets in the hands of these folks that run everything. But people believe in these people. They believe in this stuff. And most of the ones that be talking about make America great again, they want it how it used to be, the old days when they made whatever covenant they made to get the things that they get. And it's just an ongoing cycle. Because see, people understand that this is the time of the Gentiles. And for me, I'm not mad at anybody. Because if you raise your kid right, you haven't been to college, you done taught him he need to go to college. If he might be a knucklehead, he might not be the smartest light bulb in the pack. Okay, so you make sure he get a trade. We don't do that. But we still want to reap the benefits that others that sacrifice themselves and put this stuff to use get. So we can't get them. So now we breaking in the house. It's craziness. All we need is Yahuah. That's who our sustainer is. All we need is Yahuah. That's the life giver. Daniel 4:30. The king spake and said, is not this great Babylon that I have built? We just got done reading that Yahuah set up kings and takes them down, but he done got crazy. See? For the house of the kingdom by the might of my power. What? And for the honor of my majesty. Okay. Oh, Nebuchadnezzar, huh? While the word was in the king's mouth, there fell a voice from the Shamayim saying, O King Nebuchadnezzar, through thee it is spoken, the kingdom is departed from thee. And they shall drive thee from men, and thy dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field. They shall make thee to eat grass as an oxen, and 7 times shall pass over thee 7 years until thou know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men and giveth it to whosoever he will. And that's who's going to give Hasatan his power, and that's who's going to give, who in turn is going to feed this beast. All right, let me see something here. All right, I don't know what that is. Hold on. I got to get to, let's get to 2 Corinthians 10 and 15. This stuff is serious. But see, we understand these things. That's the beauty of it. We know who's in power. We know who's behind all these things. We ain't sitting up bamboozled about nothing. We understand who's behind all of it and how it's going to get down. All we got to do is get ourselves fully together. 2 Corinthians 10 and 5 says, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of Elohim, and bringing to captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. And that's what we all are supposed to be working on right now. Anyway, let's keep rolling. Because all he did is, all this right here was in his own little imagination. But Yah hurried up and showed him exactly who's running it. The king makes another decree. Daniel 3 and 29. Therefore, now after he came out of that 7 years of eating out there like a wild beast, eating grass like an ox, he came to, I took that spirit of delusion off of him. See? And then he came, now he put them back in his mind. Therefore, I make a decree. So it's a law that every people, nation, and language which speak anything amiss against the Elohim of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there is no other Elohim that can deliver after this sort. Now he understood. But see, the beast, it's not going to be that easy for him. He going to the lake of fire. Let's keep rolling. That's just the mercy of Yah, right? And sometimes he puts us through stuff because we won't listen. I know this for a fact. Now, but Yahuah is the true Elohim. He is the living Elohim, the eternal king. When he is angry, the earth trembles, the nations cannot endure his wrath. We've been seeing that just from the trumpets and the seals. We ain't even got to the bowls yet. We ain't got to the plagues. See? We ain't got to that yet. Revelation 11 and 18, and the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come. See, they gonna be mad with him. And the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants, the prophets, and to the saints. We know what a saint is now. We looked that up. That's those that keep the commandments and the feasts, and them that fear thy name. Right? I can't fear his name if I'm talking about Hashem. I don't even respect his name. I can't fear his name if I'm talking about Jesus. That ain't it. That ain't nothing. Or Jehovah or Yahweh. That's nothing. These are names that was given to you by his greatest enemy, small and great, and should have destroyed them which destroyed the earth. Okay? This is what's happening. You think people ain't, man, look at this lady. She's like, what's going, I mean, how could you even do that? Look at this. He gotta be crazy. Okay. Now, the red dragon, Strong's number 1404, Drake Khan, a dragon, a great serpent, a name for Hasatan. Drakan, probably from the alternate form, to look, a fabulous kind of serpent, perhaps as supposed to fascinate, right? Because we know the beast's gonna fascinate everybody, right? Both of them together gonna have everybody in admiration. According to Alexander Hislop, and if you haven't got that book, The Two Babylons, please go and get it. The word dragon has no real meaning to profane or sacred writers. Right? According to Pausanias, Greek philosopher, it meant serpent or large snake, but they telling you it's a dragon. The word rendered red probably means fiery or serpent of fire. In the plains of Shinar, the same serpent was an idol worship under the patronage of who? Nimrod, or sometimes he called himself Ninus, who taught the Assyrians to worship fire. This stuff goes back. It's been going back from the beginning of time, when Hasatan tricked the folks into eating from the wrong tree. The sun as a great source of light and heat was worshipped under the name Baal. The sun was called Shemesh, or the servant or Lord. So I keep talking about the Lord said, okay, man, what Lord you talking about? Huh? You talking about Baal? No, the Lord. Okay, the Lord, that's a title. Along with the sun and the great fire, Elon God worship eventually became the worship of the fiery serpent, and changed the glory of the uncorruptible Elohim into the image made like unto corruptible man, to birds and four-footed beasts and creeping things like a serpent. All right, but then it's just crazy. But they put this stuff on TV, the Lord of the Rings or whatever, the throne, there's something of thrones and all that. And they got these dragons flying. This one woman controls them. And people be going crazy over there, running. I mean, just doing everything they can. They don't want to miss an episode. And Yahuah, Deuteronomy 4:14 through 18. And Yahuah commanded me at that time to teach you statutes and judgments, that you might do them in the land whether you go to possess it. Take you therefore good heed unto yourself, for you saw no manner of similitude on the day that Yahuah spake unto you in Horeb out of the midst of the fire, lest you corrupt yourself and make of a graven image the similitude of any figure, the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any beast that is on the earth. But we see these all the time right? With Nimrod and his wife Semiramis, who turns into all these other, both of them just turn into all kind of fake gods. The likeness or these spirits, the likeness of anything that creepeth on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the water beneath the earth. So, I mean, you know, we're not even supposed to be worshiping the stars and the moon, right? And the sun. But people do that when they go to church on Sunday and don't even understand that's why it's called Sunday, the day of the all-conquering sun. This is why this thing is not going to be hard. It's not going to be hard for Hasatan to do what he wants to do, because people is already getting primed up for this stuff. Unless thou lift up thine eyes into heaven, and Shamayim, when thou seest the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the hosts of heaven, should have be driven to worship them and serve them, which Yahuah thy Elohim has divided into all nations under the whole earth. See? Now, he divided to all nations. That way you getting sun on your crop. You go out here and you can feel that sunshine. You know what I'm saying? You look up in the sky, everybody can see the same thing. But you got some that's worshiping it, and you got some that Hasatan got worshiping and they don't even realize it. Sanchuniathon, the Phoenician, says Thoth first attributed something of divine nature of the serpent to the Phoenicians and Egyptians. The serpent was the most spiritual of all reptiles, moving by a spirit, having no legs or arms, and introduced this creature to the sacred rites and the mysteries. Here we go again. Thoth was the counselor of Nimrod. But most people will say, well, see, that's Thoth is an Egyptian. He's the god of wisdom. Man, but guess who it came? It came from Nimrod. He was dealing with Nimrod. And if we go to the book of Jubilees, you can see how them two got tied in together. He's the one that named Pharaoh. Let's keep riding. All this stuff comes out of Egypt. And then we see in Egypt, they had this crown. All you got to do is watch the first 10 commandments with Yul Brynner and Charlton Heston. When he gets on the chariot to chase down the children, that's the same helmet he had on. It represents, and they always had a snake in the front, which is going to be a cobra, the fiery serpent, royal serpent in the Greek, because that's what they called it after they came back from the mystery schools, Molech, Baal, the great fire god. And then you had these virgins, and so when the Greeks came back, they came up with their own style of these virgins that watched over the fire, and they dressed up, and see like the lady is right here. And then later on, who do they become? The virgins of Jesus. The same concept, but you be like, hi, mother. That's a nun. This is the same. This is where this stuff came from. But again, you just go ahead and get Alexander Hislop's book, and he gives you, oh my goodness, he gives you so many references. It's unbelievable. This man spent a lot of time on this book. But this is when you look at these little nuns and you thinking this is who they really are. Okay? Because they worshiping their fire Elohim. Who is who? Hasatan. Ezekiel 29:3. Speak and say, thus says Yahuah Elohim, behold, I am against thee, Pharaoh, king of Egypt, the great dragon that lieth in the midst of his rivers, which have said, my river is my own, and I have made it for myself. So that's when the sister was asking me about that. He said, I am Elohim and there's no one else. He's just saying how great he is. We know that. We know what the Elohim consists of, because we've been through these classes. Revelation 12:3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his head. Well, a great red serpent. Now, you ever notice those who watch these type of movies about warlords and dragon? The dragon is always protecting his fame and fortune every time. Because I used to watch a lot of them. And he always got some type of treasure they try and fame of his name that they trying to protect. Every last time, all the time. People think that's mythology. No, it's not no mythology. Revelation 12:3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon having 7 heads, 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head. His tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth. The dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. So this is when Hasatan got thrown to the earth. We know this, and he can't go back. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels. Now we know who this Michael is. He's the great prince. fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his messengers, right? And prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. So when he was doing like the sons of Elohim coming to report, and he said, man, where you coming from? I'm walking up and down in the earth and through the earth, seeing who I can devour. He can't do that no more. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil, or just the adversary, and Hasatan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his messengers were cast out with him. Revelation 12:10, and I heard a loud voice saying, in the Shamaim now is come salvation, strength, and the kingdom of our Elohim, and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our Elohim day and night. So we're gonna look at that again a little later. So therefore rejoice, you heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the adversary has come down into you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he has but a short time. Yeah, 3.5 years. And when the dragon saw that he was cast into earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man child. And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keeps the commandments of Yahuah and have the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach. Now we know what the commandments are. Now we also know, we've been following this lesson, what the testimony is. It's just that simple. You got to have this. And this is way here in Revelation. And here he mad with the people keeping the commandment. He don't care about the other. He got them. He already got them. See, but you're going to be a problem. Because you're going to be doing some things. We're going to show you what you're going to be doing. Revelation 13, and when I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having the 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him? And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against Elohim, to blaspheme his name, because they hate that name, and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in the Shamaim. So he talking big. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So you're gonna have a mark, you might have his name, or you might have the number of his name. So we just can't look at 666. See, you can't just look at that, because he's telling you it's 3 different ways they can put it on you. Okay, let's keep rolling. Revelation 13:11-13, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he make a fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. He's gonna be doing all these wonders. We just seen that. And that's another reason why I can't, this Pope thing don't really resonate with me, is because, it's his power. He's going to have people, even Muslims, all these people all around, they're going to be worshiping this man. They ain't a Muslim. You can't get a Muslim to deal with the Pope. But the Pope will show you the Quran. He'll kiss that. Why? Because it's the same thing. It's going back to the mystery system. Because they think they just, no, and we know Allah is what? It's the moon god. And then they got a stone inside the Kaaba talking about if, the stone fell down in front of Adam's feet. All this craziness, right? So I said, I got my reason why I don't think it's the Pope. A type of Messiah, Revelation 13:4, and deceive of them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. So now they're gonna have their own little images in their house. But yeah, I already told you, don't do this. See? But they're gonna see this lamb, that Hasatan's lamb. Again, he always tries to mimic the Father, right? Revelation 13 and 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Same thing that Nebuchadnezzar did, the exact same thing. But he gonna have this power. Wait, now you tell me you stand and you see the statue come to life and start talking, people, their mind gonna be blown. But those that have understanding, we're gonna be like, what? It's time to flee to the mountains. Because we got to still wait, because we're going to have to go through some stuff. All this flying away stuff ain't going to happen until that seventh trumpet. Let's keep rolling. Blessed is the nation whose Elohim is Yahuah, the people he chose for his inheritance. From heaven or the Shamayim, Yahuah looks down and sees all mankind. From his dwelling place, he watches all who live on the earth. He who forms the hearts of all, who considers everything they do. No king is saved by the size of his army. No warrior escapes by his great strength. A horse, a symbol of military might, is a vain hope for deliverance. Despite all its great strength, it cannot save. But the eyes of Yahuah are on those who fear him, on those whose hope is in his unfailing love, to deliver them from death and to keep them alive in famine. Psalms 33. Let's keep rolling. Now, Psalms 49, hear this, all peoples. Give ear, all inhabitants of the world, both low and high, rich, poor, and poor together. So we see, if they just would have searched the scripture, when he said that he's going to make everybody rich, poor, this, that, they know, small, great, all these things. See, this is what it's a warning. He's trying to tell you what's coming. My mouth shall speak wisdom. The meditation of my heart shall be understanding. I will incline my ear to a proverb, right? To a parable. I will solve my riddle to the music of the lyre. Why should I fear in times of trouble, when the iniquity of those who cheat me surrounds me? That's what kills me, because these people is cheating us every day, but we still believe in them. You know, one of the biggest oil finds they found was in Nebraska. All this oil, they're supposed to have more oil than Saudi Arabia and all these other places where they've been getting, in Indonesia, wherever. But then your gas is still $3, $4, $5. Anyway, those who trust in their wealth and boast of the abundance of their riches, truly no man can ransom another or give to Elohim the price of his life. For the ransom of their life is costly and can never suffice. Only one could do that he should live on forever and never see the pit. Oh, we know what that is now. We know what the pit is. For he sees that even the wise die. The fool and the stupid alike must perish and leave their wealth to others. Their graves are their homes forever, right? Their dwelling places to all generations, though they call lands by their own name. So they ain't coming out when they go to that jail cell. The next move coming out of that, we know is a lake of fire, man. So this is what's gonna happen to these rich folks. But they ain't trying to hear nothing about Yahuah. They could care less. And I know Elder Moshe, he can back that up, right? Man in his pomp, because he deals with these type of people, will not remain. He is like the beast of that perish. This is the path of those who have foolish confidence. Yet after them, people approve of their boast. Oh, they love them. That's why they go out and buy these magazines about the stars and the rich and the lifestyles of the rich and famous. That was like a hit show. Like sheep, they are appointed for show. You know what that is? Death shall be their shepherd, and the upright shall rule over them in the morning. Their form shall be consumed in show with no place to dwell. That's what I don't worry about. I hope they keep getting rich, because that's going to be mine later on. But Elohim will ransom my soul from the power. He's going to save me from the power of show, for he will receive me. This is what David is breaking down. So now we see what he was warning you. And he calls us both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond to receive the mark in their right hand or in their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark of the name of the beast or the number of his name. So I was telling you about that back in Psalms 49. But when they tell you don't mind that, you don't need to, man, that you don't need stuff, but what about the prophet? Christ came and he did everything. That's why a lot of people gonna get suckered into this because they're not gonna understand, and it's gonna be a mess. Now, so he says the rich or poor, destitute of wealth, influence, position, honor in this world anyway. Huh? Well, so are the rich, wealthy, abounding in material resources. Right? The small, little, least, small, less. The great, greater, large, elder, stronger. Right? Free, abounding free, a free woman at liberty, free man, free to do whatever they want. That won't be for long. Bond, a slave, bondman, man of a servile condition. So, everybody. If you ain't walking with Yahuah, you're gonna be part of this group. Now, but it's in Daniel 11:32, and such as do wickedly against the covenant, because that's what what's the covenant? The 10 Commandments. Shall he corrupt by flatteries, because he gonna be deceiving you, telling you the sweet thing. But the people that do know their Elohim shall be strong and do exploit. So the word know is G number 3445, to know how, be skillful in what? This book, to have knowledge, be wise, right? And then from the ancient Hebrew lexicon of the Bible, we translate that back into G 1085, make full use of and derive benefit from, a bold or daring feat. You see, you gonna have these things you out here in the street talking about, well, why this is popping off, you out here telling people to repent and all this. That's a bold, daring feat. Because he already want to kill you for keeping the commandments, and now you out here in the open talking to people about this. But some of us is gonna be doing this. Some of us is gonna be doing this. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. So he's gonna overcome you. You ain't flying away nowhere. And the power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And this is one of the ways he's gonna overcome you, with this device right here, cutting heads. Cutting heads. Okay. That's what we got to understand. They keep telling these people they got 7 years. You ain't got no 7 years. And they that understand among the people shall instruct many. That's what we supposed to be doing. That's what we gonna be doing. Yet they shall fall by the sword, gonna get killed, and by flame, by captivity, by spoil, many days. Okay? And then we know it's not gonna be the whole 3.5, but we're gonna see that. We're gonna see that. Now, when they shall fall, they shall be hoping with a little help, but many shall cleave to them with flatteries, and some of them of understanding shall fall, to try them, to purge, and to make them white, even to the time of the end, because it is yet for a time appointed. So some of us gonna have to go through this, and I know in my career with the Most High, I wouldn't be surprised if I had to purge myself like this myself. Because I know this brother Elder done did a lot of stupid things in his lifetime. Now, Strong's number 5480, mark. Let's look at this word mark. A stamp, an imprinted mark. The mark branded upon horses. Okay, so this can't be no chip, because this is something that's imprinted. The same way these brothers, when they go join these fraternities, right? They get something put on them so that when they had that shirt off, you already know who he rode with, because he belongs to that spirit, right? He belongs to the spirit, that's Greek spirit that's over him, because he already done took a pledge, and he done did all the things he needed to do to be a part of that. Historic branding. Historically, branding has been used on the skin of animals and slaves as a proof of ownership, and on the skin of criminals as proof of guilt. In Greece and Rome and many parts of Europe, convicted criminals were branded with specific marks that indicate their crime. French, English, Dutch, Spanish, and Portuguese slave traders branded their initials on slaves each time the slaves changed owners. So you remember, it's going to be in your right hand, or it's going to be in their forehead. The number of his name, the name of the beast, right? Branding was a common punishment in colonial America. The letter used for branding was defined to fit the offense Thieves usually had T branded on their hand. A brand could be applied to hands, cheeks, shoulders, foreheads to publicly mark the offense. So it's not gonna be something. Cause we gonna keep going. It ain't gonna be nothing that you ain't not gonna be unseen. No, you're gonna be able to see this, cause he gonna want to make sure that you know that he belonged to them. And when you come up in the grocery store and you ain't got that on you, when they be like, hey, he ain't, you might as well go ahead and start running, cause they gonna be the tell. He ain't gonna be no secret. Ain't gonna be no secret. Strong's definition, charagma, right? Or charagma, from the same as G5482, a scratch or etching. In other words, a stamp as a badge of servitude or sculptured figure, a statue, graven, a mark. And Thayer's Greek lexicon, because we always like to go a little deeper, thing carved, sculpture, graven work of idolatrous images. What? And various other senses in Greek writing from Sophocles down. So we see when you take something and you engrave it or it's graven, that means you are actually cutting something into your engraved, like when you worked at the plant for 40 years and they gave you that gold watch. Then you flipped it over on the back and they have engraving in it. You can actually see, thank you for your service and all this stuff. But the jeweler takes that little engraver, that little it buzzes, and he's writing that in there for you because he's engraving it. He's carving your name into the back of that watch. So the word engrave, to cut or carve, right, on the surface of a hard object. My name was engraved on the ring. See, cut or carve or text or design on. The crystal glasses were engraved with the Queen's cipher. His drawings of public buildings were engraved by Edward. So it's not going to be something invisible. It's going to be on you, engraved on you, cut into you, whatever they use to put it on you, it's going to be on you and you're going to be able to see it. Let's keep going. Which one of these horses is Chip? If I don't have some type of device to actually scan the horse, I'll never know. But this way, I can see my property. Whoever LCR is, that's his horse. And if you take that horse and we catch you, you're a horse thief, right? Whoever R is, this is his horse. Whoever LE is, this is his horse. It's the same thing. It's no different. It's no different. Let's keep rolling. Where we at? Now, and I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the mount, Zion, and with him 144,000 having his father's name written in their foreheads. All right, let's get to this now. We're gonna go to let's turn to Revelation chapter 14. And we're gonna see about these 144 because Sister Kim asked about this. What are they gonna be doing? Well, let's see what they're going to be doing, because these are going to be some show enough real priests. Okay, let's go. Revelation 14:1. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000 having his father's name written in their forehead. I guess it must be really important because he don't put the father's name in their forehead. He didn't put God, he didn't put Lord, he didn't put none of that. He put the father's name. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of the great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harp. And they sung, as it were, a new song before the throne, and before the four beasts and the elders, and no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. What? And they are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb wherever he goeth. These were redeemed from amongst men, being the first fruits unto Elohim and to the Lamb. So these are the first fruits. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of Elohim. And I saw another messenger fly into the midst of the heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation, and to every kindred, and every tongue, and every people, saying with a loud voice, fear Elohim, and give glory to him, For the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of the water. So even though Yahuwah was still trying to be merciful to these people, it's too late. And there followed another messenger saying, Babylon is fallen, the great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the third messenger followed them, saying with a loud voice, that any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Elohim, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with the fire and brimstone in the presence of the set apart messengers, in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment as descended up forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments. So he's telling you all the way up here again. You got to keep these commandments, man. Y'all, it ain't no way around it. It ain't no way around it. So these are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb wheresoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto Elohim and to the Lamb. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne. So you say, well, wait a minute. I thought we learned in Revelation chapter 6 that you're going to have the people that's going to be coming through tribulation and all this stuff. Hold on 1 minute. Oh, man. That don't make no sense, Saul. Let's keep going. And I saw another messenger flying to the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people. Now, then the Messiah say that this gospel had to be preaching to all creatures, even into the end. And there followed another messenger saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Now let's keep going. A lot of people say, well, that great city, what is this Jerusalem? A lot of people just think Babylon is America. No, it's the system. It's the system. The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahuwah, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. He shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the set apart messengers and in the presence of the Lamb. So all this puffing away and well, no, that's false. Brother, me and Moshe was talking to the brother talking about that's false doctrine, you know. And he tried to use the thing in the book of Jude when they start talking about forever, eternal. But then that shows me that they're not really using they don't have any tools. They still reading from the dress letter. They just reading on top of the thing and they going with that. You can't do that with this book. You got to use the tools. You have to use the tools. Because that same, I think it's G45 or something like that, it goes on and says that Yahuwah, it's the same Greek word, says that Yahuwah's righteousness is forever. So, I mean, so if this doesn't mean forever, how can that mean forever? But we know his righteousness is forever, so somebody's confused. But we just pray that y'all help them, because y'all trying to keep the commandments. Probably keep it better than I do. The wine of indignation. For in the hand of Yahuwah there's a cup, and the wine is red. It is full of mixture, and he poureth out the same. But the dregs thereof, all the wicked of the earth shall wring them out and drink them. So whatever is in that cup, they're going to drink it all down. Every drop. Now from the LXX Septuagint, and the smoke of their torment forever and ever will ascend, and they have no rest day or night. That explains it. So how somebody can think that this is going to be over after they hit the lake? I don't understand, because he's steady telling you day and night forever who worship the beast of prey and his image. And so his indignation is G number 3709. It's vengeance. This is the wine of indignation. It's the wine of vengeance. Now, he also shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Lord, which is mingled without sparing in the cup of his anger. And he shall be tormented in fire and sulfur before his set apart messengers and before the throne. And the smoke of their torment forever and ever will ascend, and they have no rest day and night who worship the beast of prey and his image. It's real simple. But I mean, you know, folks want to try to have a loophole. Ain't no loophole. Here is the work of the saints, right? Patience. Here are they that keep the commandments of Elohim and the faith of Yahuah. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, right, blessed are the dead which died in Yahuah from henceforth. Yea, says the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. So that means, but some people say, well, you know, your works can't help you. Works is a part of the formula. But Elohim is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love, which you have showed toward his name, and that you have ministered to the saints and do minister. That's what we're supposed to be doing by now. A lot of us been in this thing for some years now. We're supposed to be out here putting this stuff together. We're supposed to be out here ministering. So Psalms 2 and 11, worship Yahuah right with reverence and rejoicing with trembling. We're going to look at this on the last part of this here. But the word reverence is to labor, work, do to work for another, serve another by labor, to serve as subjects. And this is what's going to follow you. So these people that keep talking about, well, man, you know, works can't, you got Paul all mixed up. You got Paul all mixed up, Paul and James. I mean, but it is what it is. So let's see. We looked at this before. Revelation 2, I know your deeds, your hard work, and your perseverance. I know that you cannot tolerate wicked people, that you have tested those who claim to be apostles, but are not, and have found them false. Remember, therefore, from whence thou art fallen, and repent, and do the first works, or else I will come unto thee quickly and remove thy candlestick out of his place, except thou repent. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works until the end, to him will I give power over the nations. I know I want that. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, right, blessed are the dead which die in Yahuah from henceforth. Yea, says the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. All right. Well, that's what paradise is for. If you get knocked off or you die before that time, you're gonna be resting. You're gonna be up there with Abraham and by his side, chilling, resting, because you don't put the work in. Revelation 14 and 14, and I look and behold a white cloud, and upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. All right, okay. What's getting ready to happen? And another messenger came out of the temple crying with a great voice to him who sat upon the cloud. And he thrust his sickle over the earth, and the earth was reaped. At that time, they will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great power and glory. And he will send out the messenger to gather his elect from the four winds, from the ends of the earth to the ends of heaven. Okay, let's keep rolling. Now, behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trump shall sound, and the dead shall be raised, incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this corruptible, this flesh, must put on incorruptible, right? That new body, and this mortal must put on immortality. So when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. Because at that point, you win, you straight. Oh, death, where's thy sting? Oh, grave, where's your victory? Because guess what? I ain't worried about dying no more. I ain't in hell. See, I got, you know, so how can you win, death? You can't. The sting of death is sin. Ooh. So the sting of death is not keeping the commandment. And the strength of sin is the law. Wait a minute, what are you talking about? Because the strength of sin is the law. The sin shows you what the law is if you would listen. But if you don't listen, you're going to catch this sting. You're going to catch this sting. There's only two ways around it. But thanks to Elohim, which give us the victory through our sovereign Yahushua HaMashiach. That's how we get the victory. And that's why we do the works. And that's why we have the faith, right? Therefore, by my beloved brother, be you steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of Yahuwah. He's telling you the same thing. How can people read Paul's writing and don't see this? I know why. For as much as you know that your labor is not in vain in Yahuwah. So he's telling you the same thing. But when people say, well, see, faith without works, you show me your faith, I'll show you my whatever, however Paul says it. You got to go back to these Septuagints and this Aramaic and everything, because Paul, man, this whole, even when you look at this here in Revelation, they got it. I don't know how they put this together, but they got stuff all over the place. And the only way you're gonna be able to put this book together, you got to go to the prophets, you got to read the apostles, you got to see what the Mashiach said. There's no other way. Let's keep rolling. Now, and another messenger came out of the temple, which we saw one messenger. It's the first one, right? It's the first one. And he came out and he reaped the harvest, right? Because it was ripe and juicy. But then here's another one. And another messenger came out of the temple, which is in Shamayim, having also a sharp sickle. So there's two different ones. And another messenger came forth from the altar who had authority over the fire. And he cried with a great cry to him who had the sharp sickle. Now this right here, authority over fire, this is why Enoch, to me, I love that book. Because he showed you that it's different messengers that have different things. Some of them is over fire, some of them is over the frost that can burn you. And he cried with a great cry to him who had the sharp sickle, saying, send forth thy sharp sickle and reap the clusters of the vintage of the earth, for the grapes of the earth are ripe. And the messenger thrust forth his sickle into the earth and reaped the vintage of the earth, and he cast it into the winepress of the wrath of Eloah the Great. And the winepress was trodden without the city, and blood flowed from the winepress into the bridles of the horses, 1,600 stadiums. So again, this stuff is the way it's put together. It's all over the place, because we already know that this crushing and this punishment is the ultimate one. It's going to be at Armageddon, at the Valley of Decision, right? But we still got plagues we got to get to. We're going to get to that next week. So the 1 Thessalonians 4:13. But I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep, that you sorrow not, even as others which have no hope. So if you know this man trying to keep the commandments the best he can, he doing his thing, you ain't got to be sad for him. But if we believe, but see, these other ones, they don't know him, so they ain't got no hope. But if we believe that Yahshua died and rose again, even so them also which sleep in Yahshua will Elohim bring with him. Oh, we don't see that. For this we say unto you by the word of Yahuah, that we which are alive and remain until the coming of Yahuah shall not prevent them which are asleep. For Yahuah himself shall descend from the Shamayim with the shout, with the voice of the ark messenger, and with the trump of Elohim. So the trump is the key. And the dead in Christ shall rise first. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet Yahuah in the air. And so shall we ever be with Yahuah. All right. Now, so we see that it's two different times that we see that these things happen. The first time it was in Revelation 6. Let's go there. Revelation 6, he says, when he opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the spirits of those who had been slain because of the word of Yah and the testimony they had maintained. See, now they called out in a loud voice, how long, O Yah, holy and true, until you judge them, inhabitants of the earth, and avenge our blood. So these are the ones, they were slain, right? They got martyred. And there was given to each of them a white robe, and it was told them that they should rest yet a little time until should be completed their fellow servants, their brethren who would be killed, as also they. So here's the first group. So it seems this is I can't find a scripture to back it up, but for me, it seemed like when as soon as they got martyred, boom, they shot right right. They didn't go to Abraham, they went right in front of the throne. And there's so many of them. But he didn't seal them then. He told them what? Because they can't be the first fruits, because 144,000 is the first fruit. So go and go. You know, we're gonna put you down there in Abraham's bosom. We're gonna put you down there in paradise. Just go ahead and rest and relax, because you still gotta wait on the other brother and the sister that's gonna get slaved for this thing to show up. Right? Okay. Now this is what the Mashiach said. Okay, so now we're waiting on something else immediately after the tribulation of those days, because we know the tribulation ends with the trumpets. Because after that, it's just straight plagues. See, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Right? Acts 2:20-22. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood before the great and notable day of Yahuah come. Right? So immediately after the tribulation, right? So we're looking at word 2564 to call out, allow, uttering a loud voice to invite. So when that trumpet is blown, this is us being invited. The ones who haven't got killed yet, the ones that's left, the ones that's in hiding, right? Whatever. All right, let me keep rolling. That's your invite, right? To prevail, have strength, be strong, powerful, be mighty, be great. From 1376, the root. 24:29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from the Shamayim, and the powers of the Shamayim will be shaken. Then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in the Shamayim, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory, and he shall send his messengers with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of the Shamayim to the other. Because see, after the trumpet, you got to understand, once all the saints is taken off the earth, right? Because you're going to go through them first sets, the first 7 and 7. See? But once that happens, he's snatching you out here at the seventh trump. And guess what? Now it's all those that worship Hasatan. So he's going to be blasting. We're going to see that next week. Let's keep rolling. Now, and one of the presbyteries, or one of the elders, asked me and said, these who are arrayed in white robes, this is Revelation 7, who are they? And from whence do they come? We saw the first group that he told them just to be cool, chill out, go rest until your other brothers and sisters get here. And I said to him, my sovereign, thou knowest. And he said to me, these are they who have come from great affliction or through the great tribulation and have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. On account of this, they are before the throne of the Lord and minister to him day and night in his temple. And he who sitteth upon the throne will protect them. They will not hunger or thirst, right? Nor will the sun come down upon them, nor any heat, because we know that the Father and the Son is going to be the light thereof. For it is the Lamb who is in the midst of the throne who will feed them and will lead them into the fountains of living water. So you can get the understanding. And our Lord will wipe away every tear from their eyes. Now, and the seventh messenger again sounded, and there was voices and thunder saying, the kingdom of the world is of our sovereign and of his Messiah, and he will reign forever and ever. And the 24 elders who were before the throne of the Lord, or Yahuah, who were sitting upon their thrones, fell upon their faces and worshiped, saying, we give thanks to thee, Yahuah Elohim, omnipotent, who art and who was, because thou hast taken thy great power and hast reigned. After this manner, therefore, you pray, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Holy is thy name. I don't know why people today just will not try to figure out what that is. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. This is why you pray this prayer. Anyway, and later on, we're gonna keep progressing. And I saw, as it were, a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten a victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of Elohim. That's when it's going to be beautiful, right? In those days and at that time, when I restore the fortunes of Judah and Jerusalem, I will gather all nations and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat. There I will put them on trial for what they did to my inheritance, my people Israel, because they scattered my people among the nations and divided up my land. They cast lots for my people and traded boys for prostitutes. They sold girls for wine to drink. We know when that happened. So the revenge of the Father, the plagues. This is what we're going to be looking at next week. So with that being said, let me go ahead. We're going to pray out, and then if we got any questions, we're going to go ahead and go through that. I'm sure it's going to be some. Yahuah, we thank you so much, Father, for your great love and your great mercy. We thank you for this class. We thank you for the time that you give us to share with you. We thank you, Father. Please have mercy on us, Father, as we try to get ourselves fully together so that you are satisfied to the way that you want us to be, not the way we want to be and not what we think is right. And any of us that's going through any type of affliction, Father, help us with it. Show all of us ourselves as you showed me myself. And I thank you for that, Father. And I praise the name of Yahuah because there is no other name. Bless the name of Yahuah and we magnify the name of Yahuah. In Yahushua HaMashiach we pray. Hallelujah.